Overwatch 2 was canceled this week. And I know what you might think. A lot of people on Twitter have sat there and said, oh, Overwatch 2 is not canceled, streamers. The PvE is still coming out. You're lying. This is clickbait. This is manipulation. And I'm telling you, that is a load of horse manure. Overwatch 2 and the reason for Overwatch 2's entire existence was canceled. Anybody who tries to tell you that is not the case are lying through their teeth, especially the people at Activision Blizzard who should be ashamed of themselves for not coming forward with this information at the launch of the game where allegedly, according to how many people like Frito from your Overwatch and GameSpot have read from Aaron Keller's words, that they've known that this version of PvE had been canceled since the launch of the game. And while there were many people buying skins from the shop under the assumption, I would say that less people would have been buying battle passes and shop skins had they known, oh yeah, by the way, the whole reason for Overwatch 2's existence and the whole 2 in the game, the PvE, that's been canceled. We're just making a Call of Duty campaign. There's a massive difference between a Borderlands-esque game with skill trees and not infinite replayability, but massive amounts of replayability, and a Call of Duty campaign that actually was already coming out in Overwatch 1 with the Archives event. So there was no need for Overwatch 2. It was a cash grab marketing scam, a scam, S-C-A-M, that made them abandon the first game for years and just try to cash grab reskins, an upgraded shop, battle passes, which I'm okay with if they're actually fair, which this one was not, and it ruined the game integrity, which we'll talk about in a minute as to how it was implemented. But anybody who tries to tell you that this is through their teeth, and we're going to talk about today and really break down the changes from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 and the reality of it now that we know the reason for the 2 no longer exists. And let's take a look at just how scummy and bad this actually is. Let's talk about the removal of features going into Overwatch 2. And the reason for that is the developers described Overwatch 1's engine as duct tape, and everything that was in it was connected by the roll. You couldn't reach in and grab something out of the middle of the roll of duct tape and just put it somewhere else because it only exists in the roll of tape. So there's a reason why the rank system wasn't just copy-pasted. A rank system that people liked in Overwatch 1 was not copy-pasted into Overwatch 2 because they had to remake the entire thing because they had to remake an engine for the idea of Overwatch 2. Hence why we now have a worse version of Ranked, which everybody has pretty much accepted is worse. There's no SR at the top 500 parts of the leaderboard, so you can't see how many games you need to go up to actually pass somebody. People were tied for rank 1 at the equivalent of 5,000 SR throughout many of the seasons. The matchmaker was busted, right? We're at season 4 right now, and they finally just put out a fix to actually have your rank update and go up. Like I was winning 5 games, going 5-0 and de-ranking on the top 500 leaderboard. So you can't even tell if you're winning and losing anymore. It's just been casualified. It's Overwatch Lite. It's ranked light. And you're going to hear me refer to Overwatch Lite a lot throughout this video because that's what Overwatch 2 is. It's a trimmed down version of Overwatch 1 marketed falsely as a new game. It is not a new game. It is an update. It is Overwatch 0.9, I dare say. I know Donkey was saying Overwatch 1.5, but if you really think about what I'm about to break down to you, it's a downgrade at every level for the PvP. So we're going to keep talking about that, right? But because of that duct tape-like model, they had to remake everything starting with the rank system. And if you remember, there's a reason why LFG feature is not there anymore. There's a reason why the workshop wasn't really apparent, right? Because all of these things had to be redone because of how Overwatch is made. So we really have lost features. We're just now getting back the on fire system. We're going to continue to get, they were in Overwatch 1, for example. Now they added the feature finally where you can see the rank of even know the average rank of the competitive game you were queuing. We've lost our borders, our rank borders. Did you grind a lot of Overwatch 1, the thing that made you feel special? Well, now, sorry, we can't have anybody be feeling special for their border that they played thousands of hours of Overwatch for. Like, it looked awesome. They just removed it. They literally just straight up removed it, and you can't even see the data of your previous seasons of playing Overwatch from season 1 to season, 33. I think now you can only see it season 35. And there were 36 seasons of Overwatch before it shut down. So all of that history is just gone. You can't see it. It's gone. They took it out. So the seasons that I was rank 1 and my peak in Overwatch 1, all of those years of work, you can't even flex it. You can't even do that. They took it out of the game. There's less substance, right? And so now, let's talk about 6v6 compared to 5v5. I'm just going to say it. 6v6 was better. It was better. You could do more. Tanking was more fun. And you can't tell me that they couldn't just remove the CC that everyone was asking for or tried to balance 6v6, which, shocker, this development team never did. Do you want to know why? Because they didn't have people capable of balancing the game. The same thing I've said since 2019. Double shield was fixable. And you don't do it by nerfing the barriers. How about this? How about, instead of having the poke tanks in the game that have the best shields in the game, how about you don't give them the best sustain abilities in the game as well? Orisa Fortified, they removed the ability to headshot it, and it reduced like 40% of damage, and Sigma Grasp was unpierceable by most characters. So the only downside that should have been there for characters that have shields and range poke is that you get on top of them and they don't have sustain, allowing if you want to refer to Yeatl's video about Overwatch comps explaining the cycle of comps, when they gave the bunker comps the best sustain in the game, they were unbeatable by dive, which by dive should be what beats or does well into poke. But you couldn't really play it that much because there was so much sustain on cooldown that there was no way to break it. But the devs, they weren't smart enough to fix this. Do you want to know why? Because they don't understand their own game. And finally, if people aren't coming out and talking about how incompetent not just Activision Blizzard are, but this dev team is too, I'm sorry, cut the malarkey. This is DEFCON 5. It's done. They've showed what they're capable of, and it's not much, which is why a lot of people have been leaving. And I don't even know what to say other than that. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's not all on Activision Blizzard because this mess was created by the dev team initially. So now you have a simpler Overwatch Lite. 5v5 is Overwatch Lite compared to 6v6. It's a simpler version of the game, right? Where there's less tank synergy. There's less synergy in general. And also, you've got heroes behind play and paywalls for the new model. So right now, the big fear about having characters be locked in competitive is what if one of the DLC heroes becomes hard meta? Kind of like Junker Queen is right now. And people, certain tanks, just have to sit there and say, oh, sorry, guys, I don't have Junker Queen unlocked, and she's the best hero in the game. That is so much worse for PvP. And the only way to get it if you didn't buy the hero is to do these hero challenges where, like Ramatra's, you have to queue like 30 games while flexed for all roles. Ramatra, who, by the way, was the best rush tank on the previous patch, who also was locked for people unless you bought the Season 2 Battle Pass. Or Season 3, I think. What? Like, this is like in Overwatch 1, if you bought the game, like the game did a good job of supplying both teams with the equal amount of resources. So it was about players' skill. But now, if you're not buying these heroes as they come out, you are at a disadvantage because you either have to play to unlock the character and do these hero challenges that should not exist, right? That should not exist, or just don't have the character and don't have that tool at your disposal. The game integrity of Overwatch has been ruined by this, and we're only in Season 5. This was a concern we talked about a little while ago, where like more and more of these characters are going to come out, and there's going to be more and more if you go in the ranks. Sorry. Yeah, well, maybe you should have bought the Battle Pass all those seasons ago in a game that, you know, we didn't need to make. And look, I'm okay with maybe having heroes behind the Battle Pass and the free-to-play track for a little bit, but one season after they're out, or if they end up being strong, or at least in competitive, they should just be unlocked for everybody. And so now they've sacrificed game integrity for the Battle Pass and monetization. So they've removed features. The ones they added back are worse. And now the heroes, which are the life essence of the game, the developers have said this. Some of them are unobtainable for new players and or players who've been playing for a while if they didn't play in those seasons, or like, you know, for a lot of people who are quitting, waiting for the PvE to come back, who might have missed Ramattra, who might have missed Junker Queen, who might have missed all of these things. Now we'll have to go down this horrendous path just to unlock the best characters in the game. Kiriko, another example. That is catastrophic. That is awful. That is objectively worse than Overwatch 1. So now you look at the shop, right? Let's go to the shop. The shop is the only thing that actually got upgraded, believe it or not. Who could have guessed? And I'm okay with them making money off the game. I'm not okay with them. Allegedly, they had known for months that the original vision of PvE would be canceled. And if that announcement had come out, I can assure you, way less people would be buying skins in the for new characters because we're under the assumption that we're going to have that character unlocked and be able to go play their skill trees when the PvE comes out. That is absolutely a reason why you'd want to buy and unlock the character and grind to unlock the character. And they just didn't tell us while many people were buying it. And I was encouraging my community to buy it, not knowing that that rug would get pulled out from under us. I am so sorry to all of my audience who I told that this game actually was going to be good when the PvE came out and all this stuff. I did not know that they were going to do this. And it is so disingenuous as someone who prides himself on his honesty and saying what needed to be said no matter what. I'm going to stand by the fact that I was right about this team for years. I was vilified in this community for my takes. And where are we now? Where are we now? There's a reason why I was so intense about all right, but I knew. I watched Mineplex die, but also, funny story, Mineplex and PvE died within 1 day of each other, dude. It's been a tough week for me, man. It's 11 years of my gaming life. Boof! I saw the signs. I know what it's like to see a game fail and go down the wrong path and inevitably end up like this in a place where its reputation is it's irredeemable. Overwatch, well, the once great game's reputation is now irredeemable. Is the game going to die? No. But it will never, ever again be a tier 1 game because of how bad Team 4 and Activision Blizzard have done with this game. Everything about this game is worse. They manipulated us into thinking that the PvE was still coming out and not telling us to make more people buy the skins. They downgraded all of their systems, and they're slowly working them back to what they were in the first game. So there was no reason to halt content for years. There was no reason to cancel Overwatch 1. All of this just is the following. This is why big game companies, at least like Activision, should not be publicly traded. Because when it gets to the point where you're downgrading your game and reskinning it just to make money and resell it, when you're not providing the features that you promised, the quality of your products decline, and you lose your integrity to your community and you lose the faith of your customer. And that is what the Overwatch, that is what Blizzard has done with Overwatch. They have lost the faith of their consumer. They've lost the faith of anybody. These guys are not trustworthy. They are not people that you want to bet on. And there should be a class action lawsuit against Activision Blizzard for the lies that they have told over the years and the misleading of the communities that, in my opinion, is irredeemable. And this proved that Overwatch 2 never needed to happen. Overwatch 2 caused irreparable damage to this game's reputation, its community, its integrity. And if I'm Team 4, there's got to be some changes made, at least to the game and take. At least get these heroes. No character should be locked in this game now. You should only have to pay for what you guys deliver. And you guys didn't deliver anything. You delivered a hollow shell of the PvE, the same stuff you were doing before, and you made the PvP worse too in a game that's riddled with bugs that didn't exist in the previous game because you had to remake everything, a ranked system stripped away for no reason other than the fact of making a new engine for a new game. This is the most disgraceful release of a multiplayer. I've never seen a fall from grace like this, and you'll never see it again because other companies surely are watching this failure and coming to watch too. I was misled as well. I should have trusted my gut from all those years ago, but I wanted to give Aaron Keller a chance to prove himself as a leader. And to be fair, all of this is not on Aaron. But man, y'all really dropped the ball and you misled us and you should have been honest from the damn beginning. But here we are. What a shame. What a wasted IP. And anybody who's trying to defend this team or this company at this point are absolutely shills. There is nothing to defend here. This is disgraceful. So I'm so sorry to anybody. I should have stuck to my guns, and I did not. I believed the lies that they told me, and I apologize. I need to be better than that. I need to be sharper than that, and I wasn't. That's on me. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But Overwatch Lite is officially out. See you guys next time. Peace out.